Okay, so it's quite late where I am, so I'm not sure how well this video is going to turn out, but we shall see. Rachel Zegler. I've already made a couple of videos about Rachel Zegler. Now, for those of you who don't know who Rachel Zegler is, she is going to play Snow White in the 2024 live-action remake of the 1938 classic cartoon. But it's not going to be just any old live-action remake. It's a reimagining of Snow White. A strong, independent, Latinx woman who don't need no man. Now, in my previous videos covering this whole Snow White, Rachel Zegler fiasco, I jumped on the anti-woke bandwagon like any good investigative journalist. And that's what I am, an investigative journalist. Like any good investigative journalist worth his salt, I jumped on the anti-woke bandwagon and I made lots of funny jokes about Snow White, about the dwarfs. We had a great time. But I was fair. I was nuanced, balanced. I was all of the things that you guys have come to expect, nay, demand of the Daniel Boland channel.
Who's Daniel Boland?
I even went as far as to defend Rachel Zegler a little bit, as insufferable as she is, and I sort of said, you know, imagine if you, at age 22, had everyone in the world listening to all of your terrible takes on everything.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
It would be cringe for most of us. Not me, I was very cool at 22. I had most things figured out by that age, if not younger. I've done very little growing in the last 11 years, it just wasn't necessary. But I bet some of you were complete dorks at 22, weren't you? Fools! As Mike from Red Bar would say. I've got to stop hero worshipping Red Bar. It's getting a little bit gay! Anyway, the point of this video is that as much as Rachel Zegler would like me to be her knight in shining armor, for a guy like me to come along and say, hey, Rachel, it's fine. We were all young and stupid once. Take no notice of all those anonymous online troll demons!
Sadistic, Machiavellian, psychopathic, and narcissistic.
They can't hurt you now. Yet as much as that is Rachel Zegler's dream, well, you can dream on, Rachel, you home-wrecking hussy! This just gets crazier. Look at this. The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and nerds. Director says Rachel Zegler's Lucy Gray is different from Katniss because she wears her sexuality on her sleeve. Christ on a bike. I feel titillated already. And I've got to say, relatable too, in my case. I wear my sexuality on my sleeve and just walk down the street and, oh, everyone's... He's the most hetero guy I've ever seen. And if anyone ever gets the wrong end of the stick with me, I get furious. What's wrong with you? You picking up on the social cues. I wear my sexuality on my sleeve. You idiot. According to the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, what a name. Now that's going to bring in a diverse crowd. A neurodiverse crowd of entirely nerds. According to the director, Francis Lawrence, the biggest difference between core series protagonist Katniss and the prequel... Oh, it's a prequel. Music to my ears. Is there any word more thrilling to the human soul? I would have put the clip in there, but there isn't a clip of Troy McClure saying that on YouTube that I can just steal. How has that line not been uploaded to YouTube? It's a classic! The core difference between the protagonist Katniss and the prequels, Lucy Gray, is the fact that the latter is an extrovert who wears her sexuality on her sleeve.
Wonderful.
Lawrence, who previously helmed all 3 Hunger Games sequels, my second favourite thing after prequels. My favourite prequel was The Hobbit. What a great idea, making a film about The Hobbit set before Lord of the Rings. If only J.R. Ewing had lived to see what he inspired. Lawrence offered his take on the franchise's 2 heroines during a promotional interview given to Empire magazine for the upcoming October 2023 issue. Speaking to the question, will people go see a new Hunger Games movie without Katniss, the director confidently asserted that the absence of the Jennifer Lawrence-portrayed Archer would not be an issue because audiences would be intrigued by a new story focused on someone who was, essentially, the anti-Katniss. Yes, that's the sign of a thriving franchise. Bringing in jazzy, zany new characters.
Attitude! Sunglasses!
That doesn't scream, we're desperate and dying, please love us still.
Oh yeah, bingo. There it is, right there.
Katniss was an introvert and a survivor. Oh, so 2016, am I right? As an introvert and a survivor, explained Lawrence of the difference between the two characters. She was quite quiet and stoic. You could almost say she was asexual. Grey is the opposite. She reproduces sexually. No spores. She wears her sexuality on her sleeve. Word. She really is a performer. In support of his take on the two heroines, the director pointed out not only how Katniss accepted the role of rebellion figurehead solely out of necessity, while Lucy volunteers herself to be front and centre, girl boss, slay, but also the fact that the former chose to fight from afar with a bow, while her predecessor opts to use her to advance her goals. To use her what? I feel like there's a typo there. What does she use to advance her goals? Her ass! She loves crowds, he further detailed of Lucy, who will be brought to life in the upcoming film by Rachel Zegler. She knows how to play crowds and manipulate people. A very modern woman. Wonder if she's got a account.
Be gone, fucks!
This is not the first time Lawrence has given such an assessment of Lucy's character. Speaking to the choice to cast Zegler as the film's lead, the director told Lionsgate in June 2022, "Like everybody, I first saw Rachel Zegler in West Side Story." Yeah, like everybody. "And like everybody, I knew I was watching a star who would command the screen for a generation. For all the right reasons."
People think I'm doing poorly, and other people think I'm doing gracefully, and I don't think I'm doing it at all.
Oof, anus clenching cringe. Lucy Gray is the perfect match for her as an actress. The character is bold, independent, and defiant, but also vulnerable, emotional, and loving. Ease off on the Barnum statements there, bitch! Who isn't bold and independent and, also vulnerable, emotional, and loving? I know I am. And I do all of that whilst wearing my sexuality on my sleeve. Rachel will make this character forgettable. Unforgettable.
Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like.
At current, the Zegler-led Hunger Games prequel is currently on track to offer itself up as tribute on November 17th. I don't really understand that last sentence, but I think that means it's coming out the day before my birthday. That's right. Because on the 18th, I'm going hurtling into my 35th year. That's right, I'm turning 34. I'm sorry, I get really pedantic about that kind of thing, you know. I'll be watching a football match and the commentator will see that a player scores a goal in 27 minutes and 30 seconds and they'll say, "A goal in the 27th minute." No! It's the 28th minute, the same way as you're living in the 21st century and the year isn't 2123, it's 2023. You Philistine! You anus! Anyway, what do you think about this Hunger Games prequel? I know I'm excited. I find it bizarre that these big studios and things are doing them they're committing the same errors that were being parodied by The Simpsons in the 90s, you know, bringing in jazzy new characters, a prequel, a sequel, and it never works. I just wonder what is in their contracts that they have to keep churning out new installments of a franchise. I guess the franchise has a contract for like 10 films or something, and they have to fulfill it one way or another, even if that means bringing in Poochie. I don't know, I could be completely wrong. Maybe this franchise has just got so many fans that it doesn't matter what shit they put out, people will just keep watching it, like with the Star Wars spin-offs and Mandalorians and prequels and sequels and shite. You know, I never even watched the 3 prequels that came out in the 2000s. That was too much for me. I was already sensitive to that as a preteen. I saw Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and I was having none of it. And don't even get me started on the Lion Guard series. What the hell was that? 3 seasons. And The Land Before Time. Lord have mercy. Look, the only thing that gets better with each and every installment is this. The Daniel Boland Show, okay? And you will see if you subscribe and hit the notifications bells and stuff like that, that helps me to deliver more quality content like today's. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.